What's up guys, Sean here, and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing the Protech SNG. This is a side firing automatic version of the Strider SNG, and it's a pretty badass knife, not gonna lie. It definitely has some major cool factor to it. It looks cool. And we're going to get into all the fine details, but first let me show you what I'm carrying today. I'm carrying my big beefy badass tank of a knife. This is the Microtech SOCOM Elite manual folder, and this is the Tanto blade version. I sharpened this edge, as you can see, reprofiled it to 20 degrees per side, and for such a hard use capable tank of a knife, I mean, this thing, I would put money on it being damn near indestructible. It cuts really surprisingly well. I don't know what kind of voodoo they did with this blade grind, but it is, as you can see, it's clearly not a simple blade grind. There's many different angles to it. We have a nice wedge along the top, narrowed out in the center section. Then we have it comes back out a little bit thicker right here before the Tanto. That's pretty common with all American Tantos, and that is for added strength. And as you can see, the grind line that comes straight down right here to the secondary tip, that is because it is thicker in here, and then it tapers as we come back into the belly, and we have a flat grind right here and a flat grind right here. So extremely robust and durable blade, but like I said, I don't know what it is. Looking at it you know, on paper, looking at it just based off of my experience and knowledge, I would not predict for this knife to cut very well. But maybe it's the partially to do with the size, the length of the blade, and the length of the handle and the ergonomics, that you have really good leverage, that it kind of helps to make it feel like you are cutting through material easier than what it actually is. Maybe I just put a really good edge on it, who knows. But regardless, I've been extremely impressed with this knife, and I am doing a full review on this, but that isn't in this video. So that was just a little tease for you guys about this one. And then I'm also carrying this badass knife right here. This one was also a well, not also, this one was a gift along with the EMP EDC Nimble, and this and the EMP EDC Nimble are both knives that I'm doing reviews on, that those reviews are finished, ready to film. So you'll be seeing a full review on this and the Nimble, as well as the SOCOM Elite and several other knives coming at you guys in rapid succession. So awesome knife right here. I'm not going to spoil any of the details on this one because I've already taken long enough getting started in this video, but you know, I figured you guys wouldn't mind because it's pretty interesting information. So let's get into it. We're doing this the same format as my last review, which was the Penna X series front flipper, and let's just get straight into it. So my first category is ergonomics, and this scores a 5 out of 5. I don't know if you have personally ever had the pleasure of handling a Protech knife and their very strange distinctive handle profile, but I personally really enjoy it. I find it to be an excellent design. It fills your hand where you need it to be filled, to have that really the control over the knife so you don't get any twisting, no lateral twisting, because you have such a secure full grip towards the back of the handle. And then you also have nice little kind of finger guard because it swoops in and then drops back down, so it keeps you from sliding up. And then you have a nice big finger choil right there, as well as some well spaced out, not too aggressive jimping. Like those of you who have been with the channel for a while now, you guys I'm sure know by now that is the only type of jimping in my opinion. I mean, that is really, I really enjoy that. Just my personal preference. The edge came out pretty good. When we get into the blade category, I will tell you more about it, but let's keep going down the list. Our clip scores a 5 out of 5. This one features a deep carry pocket clip that is a little bit different than the traditional style Strider clip. Your traditional Strider clip is very simple and it looks basically the same as this, except you don't have the bump up. Like, it doesn't bump up that high. It's just, you know, bolts straight down. It's not deep carry, and it's just a straight looking clip, about the same width and profile as this, but you don't get any of this extra, and it causes the knife to ride higher in your pocket, and you have a good little chunk of the knife sticking out of your pocket. But with this deep carry clip, allows this to ride, you know, nice and deep down into your pocket. And due to the massive butt of this handle, you still can get a good grab on it fairly easy. So clip does well, and for those same reasons, carry gets a 5 out of 5. Carry's excellent. Now for the action, this got a 2 out of 5. And you might ask, how the hell could it score so low on action? It's a Protech automatic. Well, to be quite honest with you, alright, I'll give you a little bit of background. I have not handled a shit ton of side firing autos, but I've handled a decent variety. Some Benchmade side firing autos, Microtech, LUDT, some budget side firing autos, and out of all of them, this one seems to be the least snappy. So I'll go ahead and fire it. Well, that wasn't really a good example. I'll be honest, it has improved a little bit since I've been handling it. Maybe it was because maybe it needs some lubrication. Maybe it just needed to be broken in a little bit. Maybe it hasn't been really fired much, but it was kind of sluggish and weak at first. Now it's not so bad, so I don't know. I'll consider raising that, but that was the score at the time of me grading everything. And then also the fact that unlike an OTF automatic, you have to use 2 hands to push this blade back in. I mean, if you really want to, I'm sure you can get it back in one-handed like so, but it's a little bit dangerous and you might cut yourself, fumble the knife. Not really ideal. Not a huge deal or a deal breaker, but I mean, it kind of takes away from the fun of the action when you constantly have to do that. So I don't know. I'll think on the action category, but moving on. Hardware gets a 5 out of 5. This is one thing that I was impressed with, and that I can see a improvement from Protech, because the other Protechs I've handled were a whole lot of T6 screws, and you guys know how I feel about T6s. They did all large screws on this. I believe these are all T10s, and that's a beautiful thing. And there's not a whole lot of screws. I mean, really, you have the 4 on this side, and then you have 1 screw on this side. So I like that. Nice, simple, large hardware. Good to go. For the aesthetic, it scores a 4 out of 5. I really like the aesthetic of this, but it is kind of polarizing. I'm sure some people think this is the ugliest knife they've ever seen. I personally think it looks pretty damn cool. So I only deducted 1 point for that. For the price, it gets a 3 out of 5. I'm not positive on the price for this specific one, but I've seen these vary anywhere from $200 to several $100s, up into the $400, $500, $600, and then there's some customs, I guess, that are into the thousands. So I estimate that this one might be, say, $300, and the reasoning that I rated it at a 3 is because some of the other categories, which I'm going to get into. So fit and finish also scores a 3 out of 5. Why is this? Well, it has a lot to do with the blade grind, which I'm going to go into more detail on the blade, and also there is a little bit of play. All right, a little bit of blade play, kind of common with side firing autos, and then you have a hair of up and down play. Everything else is pretty decent, but for a USA knife, it's like, come on. It really, all right, to be completely honest, my main gripe is with the blade grind, and that is why I was kind of harsh on the grading. But let's keep going. For acoustics, it gets a 3 out of 5. Just when you close it, I think that aspect sounds kind of cool, but I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a 3.5. Like I said, it was a little bit sluggish with the action at first. It really just started to improve today, and due to the sluggish action, not very snappy, it didn't sound very good. So it sounded a little bit better, and you know, I'm always completely straight up with you guys, so my grading is based off of my time with the knife, and I try to grade it as accurately and as unbiasedly as possible in the amount of time that I have to experience the knife. So moving on, lockup gets a 5 out of 5. With these type of the locking system on this is essentially the same as a button lock, which is a very strong lock mechanism, so no issues there. I mean, it locks up. I'm confident that this blade is not going to fold in on me or fail, so I went ahead and gave it a 5 out of 5. Lock bar access, 5 out of 5, because clearly our lock mechanism, we're just pressing in this button right there. It doesn't get much better access than that. The factory edge, 1 out of 5. Every Protech that I've gotten so far was very underwhelming as far as the edge goes. Not only on the evenness of the bevels, but they were not sharp at all. I mean, I doubt I could cut myself with it if I tried. When I received this one, it was as dull as a butter knife, and it didn't look like this knife had been used very much at all. So that's kind of sad. The blade category gets a 2 out of 5. Reasoning for this, the blade grind is uneven as hell. I spent way too much time sharpening this, trying to get this edge decent, because the blade grind was off. The edge bevels being a little bit off and uneven was not the main issue. I can deal with that and straighten that out fairly quickly and easily, especially with the 50 grit B stone or the 100 grit diamond stone. I can take care of stuff like that very easily. But when you have a blade grind that's uneven, especially in the belly, and it's throwing your bevel off, and definitely around the tip where it's already, you know, the tip can already be a touchy area on a guided sharpening system. This thing really gave me some hell. I think I was able to do a pretty damn good job getting everything straightened out finally, but that was not of any help of the blade grind, I'll tell you that much. So not cool. And this is not the first time I've experienced an uneven blade grind from Protech. Matter of fact, every Protech that I've had has had the same issues. That is a poor factory edge and a uneven blade grind. You know, that's something they should really work on. I would hate for their reputation to go downhill. I have no gripe or you know, nothing against Protech. I wish them nothing but success and the best, but they need to get their shit together. There's no excuse for uneven blade grinds that frequently when you've been around this long. You guys are not amateurs. You guys should have definitely been able to afford decent enough equipment and workers that have the experience or machinery that is good enough to make things within tolerances that we're not seeing these kind of issues. Unless they're grinding all these by hand, I really don't see how all these blades are having uneven grinds. So, you know, I don't know. Moving on, handle, 5 out of 5. Like I said before, I love the Strider handle, and I love how they have made this kind of like an integral, and the larger section is aluminum instead of having the smaller section being aluminum and having the G10 wraparound. They did the larger portion being the aluminum side, so I can definitely dig that. That's a really cool aspect, keeping gunk and junk and keeping things from being able to poke through, say like an open back construction. If you have change in your pocket or whatever gets in between there, it can ding up your edge. You're not going to have any of those issues with this, so I really like that aspect. The texturing on the G10 feels really good. It's not too aggressive. It's like a diamond pattern, similar to, say, like a factory Hinder scale. It's not super grippy, but it gives you some nice texture. Knives that are completely smooth to the touch are not the most appealing to me. I definitely enjoy having some texture there. So yeah, all around the handle is executed very well. We have some more well spaced out jimping, not too excessive, just a couple, 1, 2, 3, and then I guess like a half a slot there. And then yeah, I really like this. So whether you're choked up or whether you're gripping it back here, you have some nice not too aggressive jimping for your thumb to land on. Very nice. We also have some jimping back here, which I have no idea what purpose that would serve unless, oh, reverse grip. Oh yeah, self-defense, tactical roll, whatever, for you, you know, you guys that like to make believe like you're G.I. Joe. Hey, go for it. Moving on, centering gets a 1 out of 5. As you can see, this blade is not even nearly centered. The only reason it didn't score a 0 is because it's not rubbing against the aluminum side. But check this out. There's not really that is not play. That's just me flexing the blade, okay? The pivot on this isn't like loose where the blade is wiggling around. That's just where it's sitting. And the sad thing is, okay, say, all right, I'll tighten this up right now. T10. Okay, so it had some room for me to tighten it up. Now let's see the action. That's how the action was when I got it. That was fucking pathetic. Put it back in. Still not centered. Come on, Protech. What the F, man? I mean, that unacceptable. You're not paying $200 for a knife that can't be centered, and when you have the fucking pivot tightened down, it comes out like a fucking flopping fish. Like it's a little bit better, but I mean, if I crank this down, would it be centered? Haha. Okay. It's centered now. Let's see. Won't even fucking come out. That's what I'm talking about, guys. That's why fit and finish scored so low. It's really a big disappointment. We are supposed to be able to be proud of when a knife says USA on the blade. When are we going to start making products that we can be proud to carry? I mean, yes, there's the pride of ownership aspect, and I love supporting USA companies, but it's like, Protech, I am begging you, get your shit together. Moving onward. Cutting performance scores a 4 out of 5. It's not the sliciest knife in the world, but this does slice pretty good. It's not bad. Gotta fucking loosen the pivot to get this blade to pop back out. That's sad. So, it tapers down as you come towards the tip, and then with the blade grind, we have a flat right here. And similar to Rick Hinder's slicer grind, the flat only comes to about the center of the cutting edge, and then your grind thins out as you come out here. So that allows for some decent cutting performance, plus the leverage that you're able to get from the handle design. It makes it feel pretty good as you're going through material. Fidget factor scores a 3 out of 5. Only because it's a side firing auto and it has that cool factor, but the fact that there's all those issues with it really kind of put a, damper on that, or a sour taste on it. The design gets a 4 out of 5. I think the design and the idea is awesome, but the execution and engineering of it clearly needs some work. And for the last category, value, we get a 3 out of 5. And I think that's kind of self-explanatory at this point, how I arrived at that conclusion. Even in the best case scenario, say this is $200, I don't think you're getting a great value, because it's not really like a completed product, in my opinion. It's more like prototype worthy. You know what I mean? They did not iron out all the kinks and flaws, so that's just how it is. So yeah, that is my grading for this knife. We came up with a total of 75 out of 100 points. That is a C grade. I think that is being fair. I would have loved to give this knife a higher score. Like I said, it has that major cool factor. I really enjoy the feel of a Strider and the aesthetic of it, and all that good stuff. But Protech just fell kind of short on this, and hopefully this is just a bad one out of the batch. But when I've seen a lot of these same issues reoccurring. Out of all the Protechs out there, I find it kind of unlikely that I just happen to keep getting bad ones. So, I mean, I don't know. So, there's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching. I love you guys. Jesus loves you. Stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.